everybody, and welcome to the weekly scopes from the 8th to the 14th of December. Hi everybody, and welcome to this week's weekly scopes. If you've heard this before, you can skip, but this is just the intro on how I formulate these astrology weekly readings. I use astrology and my intuition to give you advice how you can practically use the knowledge of the stars and the planets and apply them to your life. So my weekly scopes are all based on GMT time and on Vedic Constellational Astrology. So now I'm just going to explain what Vedic Constellational Astrology is and how it differs from Western astrology. So the precession of the equinox is sort of like something that happens in astronomy and astrology, where the Earth's axis undergoes a slow circular motion over 26,000 years, and basically this means that this motion causes a shift in the position of the equinoxes, and also the calculation Vedic and Western astrologies use. So around 2,000 years ago, the tropical and sidereal Vedic astrology signs of astrology were aligned in the same position. So if the sun was in Scorpio in Vedic astrology, it was also in the constellation of Scorpio in Western astrology. But because of the precession of the equinoxes, this has caused a gradual westward sort of like drift of the tropical Western signs. So basically these signs and the Western signs shift 1 degree with every 72 years. So as a result of this ongoing shift, when Western astrology says the sun is in the constellation of Pisces, it's typically in the constellation of Aquarius. Still, this is because the degree, orb and the date for Western and Vedic astrology are 24 degrees, 24 days apart. So in Western astrology, the sun enters the constellation of Pisces around the 19th of February each year, but actually the sun doesn't arrive into the constellation of Pisces until the 13th to the 15th of March each year, and Vedic astrology takes this into account because it's based on the fixed star positions, and Vedic astrologers use sidereal calculations. So as a result, Vedic astrology takes into account the actual positions of the constellations in the sky at any given time, and also considers the precession of the equinox, adjusting for the shift in the position of the equinoxes over time. But in terms of Western astrology follows the tropical zodiac, which is based on the seasons rather than fixed star positions. Western astrologers also do not directly account for the precession of the equinox in their calculations as well, so this results in slightly different calculations and interpretations that are given whether we're using Western astrology or Vedic astrology. So yeah, as I said, Western astrology uses specific dates, so every year, regardless of where the sun actually is at the sky, the sun moves into Pisces around the 19th of February. So yeah, this discrepancy, this misalignment between the tropical zodiac and the actual positions of the constellations has led to a discrepancy between Vedic astrology and Western astrology. So I consider the actual where the sun and the moon are and where Mars and Venus are at any given time, and this is how I formulate these sort of like weekly scopes. So yeah, thanks for listening to this, and let's dive into this week's weekly scope. Okay, so now I'm just going to explain what parallels and contra-parallels are in astrology, because I use them in my chart interpretation. So declination in astrology is the measure of how far a celestial body is, such as the sun, whether it's either north or south of the celestial equator. And the celestial equator is an imaginary line in the sky above the Earth's equator, which us astrologers use in our interpretation. So parallels happen when two planets are on the same declination. Either both planets are on the north side side, or either both planets are on the south side, and this alignment increases the influence of the involved planets. So it's similar to a conjunction aspect, as it amplifies their energy, making the effects of the planets more pronounced. Contra-parallels, on the other hand, happen when two planets are on the same declination, but one is in the north and one is in the south. So this alignment creates tension, which is similar to an opposition aspect, and it can lead to conflict, challenges and inner struggles between the energies of the planets involved. So contra-parallels highlight areas of friction or contrast in our lives, urging us to find balance between their opposing forces at play. When transiting parallels and contra-parallels happen, they can sort of like trigger significant events, shifting consciousness and periods of intense growth and transformation. So I look at these aspects closely during chart analysis to understand how planetary energies interact and influence each other during a specific time frame, to pinpoint key periods for personal development, relationship dynamics or career shifts, and other shifts like karmic shifts and stuff like that. Because I just find using contra-parallels and parallels gives me more depth in interpretation, so I use them. So contra-parallels and parallels in astrology serve as markers for potential challenges or breakthroughs, guiding us towards more self-awareness, love, acceptance, understanding, forgiveness for ourselves and others, and shifts in consciousness and growth. So overall, just a shift in our mindset if we allow for it. So parallels and contra-parallels just kind of like provide valuable insights into the complexities and nuances of the astrological interactions between planetary movements. So yeah, that's the end of what contra-parallels and parallels are. Okay, so this week we've got the Sun making a semi-square to Venus. That's came in on the 4th of December. It says that on the 11th of December and leaves us on the 20th of December, so going into next week as well. And the Sun's in the constellation of Scorpio, so nice fixed water energy, and Venus is in Capricorn, so we've got that cardinal earth energy kind of grounding us as well. Then we also got Venus making a contra-parallel to Jupiter, and this leaves us on the 15th of December, it's exact on the 8th of December. We've also got Venus making a contra-parallel to Mars, and that's exact on the 10th of December, and again leaves us on the 15th of December. Jupiter makes a sextile quadrat to Pluto, and Jupiter's in Taurus, so nice fixed earth energy stabilising us, and again Pluto's in Capricorn as well. The Sun also makes a parallel to Pluto, and this leaves us on the 15th of January, so lasting us for the rest of this month and halfway through next year, giving us that push to do the transformation that we want to do, to go deep, to get real, to manage our finances as well, to go into the mystical, the occult as well. We've also got Saturn making a contra-parallel to Chiron, so the wounded healers in the opposition type of connection with Saturn, so bringing the focus on karma, hard work, discipline as well, and just looking at the ways that we are vulnerable with ourselves and others and why we're not, and how we can get more, and just really get into the root of our insecurities, but not in a way of judging them, but accepting others in healthy ways, making a plan. And this energy lasts us right up until the 6th of February next year, so lasting us a long time. We've got Mars making a parallel to Jupiter as well, and this is exact on the 15th of December and leaves us on the 3rd of January. So during the Sun semi-square to Venus, your relationships and personal values come into a sharper focus. So this pushes us to assess how they align with our sense of self. And the combination of the Sun in Scorpio and Venus in Capricorn allows us, if we really want to make a deeper emotional connection with ourselves and others. But it can also bring up, tensions that have been bubbling under the surface, things we haven't been saying, stuff like that. So some of us may find ourselves, struggling, grappling with desires that, in conflict with like practical concerns, and this can lead to misunderstanding. So one person may want to just, spend the rent money in a relationship on, a good night out, and the other person's like, no, we've got to meet our responsibilities, stuff like that. Or maybe something from the past comes up, as I said. So it wants us to really self-reflect on why we're angry and try to talk to them in a sort of calmer way. And I know it can be hard with emotions, and it's something that we have to practice to be good at, but it also wants us to have constructive, well thought out, meaningful conversations, with the hope of getting over solving our problems, rather than being like, making them worse. So it wants us to clarify within our relationship, especially our needs, expectations. And Venus's contra-parallel to Jupiter increases our desire for socializing, sorting things out, and the desire for abundance, while meaning things in our relationships. It can make us more optimistic in our loves and our finances right now, and it gives us chances to expand our social circle as well, or indulge in pleasurable activities. And we just need to try and keep balance as well. Be mindful of overindulging, or having unrealistic expectations in relationships that kind of like stem from this optimistic energy. We can use this period to develop joy and happiness while staying grounded in reality, ensuring that your goals are both heartfelt and achievable. And this allows us to really be open this week to solving things rather than making them worse, and enjoy ourselves while we're kind of going through the hard times as well. So Venus's sister quadrant to Jupiter allows us and adds to these feelings of joy, happiness, abundance, and wanting to seek out pleasurable experiences. But we need to watch out for overdoing it, because Jupiter energy expands, and we may overstep our mark with words, hurt people's feelings, or people may try and overstep our boundaries. So we just need to make sure we don't mismanage our resources, money, time, energy as well. And it's a good energy to push ourselves, to find balance within ourselves and in our relationships, to maintain being responsible and doing so, and just being open to different perspectives, different words, different actions of people, and seeing people, yes, as a sort of member of humanity, but as individuals, but not in a destructive way, but in a way that allows you to realise. Because sometimes when we get into arguments with people, can be like, I wouldn't do this, so why would you do this? Well, because they're not you, so we just have to, give each other grace for that. So it wants us to allow optimism to flow, to nurture opportunities that come our way, and this can create or enchant our relationships, making them more positive, and we may just be more willing to work with each other as well. And we just need to watch out for the underlying frustrations that could come up if our expectations are not met. It wants us to be more reflective. It pushes us to consider what truly brings us, joy and happiness, and making us feel chilled, and wants us to stay away from superficial pleasures or superficial highs. Sometimes we're like, I'll spend all my rent money on some nice shoes, and you get happy for the day or two or even a week, but then when you start getting letters about your rent, then your joy's gone. So just looking at ways you can bring longer term joy into your life as well. And so Jupiter sister quadrant to Pluto again allows us to, sort of like think about the things that we think and how our thoughts and actions are adding to our life or taking away from our lives, and looking at how we can change our daily habits, and also just looking at our goals, our careers as well. And it sort of like brings stability and wants us to focus on bringing more material security and security within our inner emotional worlds as well. well, and Pluto in Capricorn in this sister quadrant wants us to focus on power and structure, and bringing routine into our life and reflecting on our goals and how we can change our daily habits so we can meet our goals, and to know that we all go at different paces. Some people get to where they need to get to in a year, for some of us it's 50 years, so not seen as a competition or seeing you less than anyone else, but really just valuing yourself as a person as well, opening up your horizons. And although this energy can bring power struggles and internal conflicts, if we navigate this energy carefully, we can have breakthroughs in our emotional lives and our relationships. And although we can kind of feel overwhelmed by this energy, it can deepen our personal power, self-empowerment, self-worth, love and respect and insight, and just allow us to be more forgiving to ourselves and others as well. And also the sun's parallel to Pluto encourages us and supports us in confronting these hidden aspects of ourselves, and this can make us understand our motivations and desires more, and we just may have a stronger need to assert our will and go after our ambitions. But it's crucial to balance this drive with self-awareness to avoid being like I am the boss and being like I want to rule everyone, causing arguments with your friends and family or even yourself, so just be careful with this energy this week. So also we've got Saturn making a parallel to Chiron. So as I was saying, this can bring up deep-seated wounds and limitations, and a lot of aspects are bringing up things this week. This aspect in particular causes tension between our sense of responsibility and the healing of our past traumas, and it pushes us to examine how these experiences, our past, are still shaping our current life, and whether this is healthy or not to go into shaming or blaming yourself, or thinking about how you can start or continue the work of healing your emotional, spiritual, psychological traumas. Saturn here emphasizes and allows us to be disciplined, structured and keep on going this week, even though we are going under pressure, and to confront our emotional challenges head on, and this can help us grow. It wants us to redefine our boundaries, really look at our healing and personal development journey, the time you spend there, and reflect on, if you can give yourself more time to work through the things you need to work through. Healthy self-care, to love on yourself, to accept yourself, forgive yourself, and it wants us to be more vulnerable and to overcome the restrictions that come up this week as well, and to embrace our wounds as well. A lot of time we push away our past, our heart breaks, and this makes it worse because often we go into distractions like Netflix and chilling, drug and alcohol addiction, or any other thing that keeps us away from ourselves. So it wants us to remain open to learning the lessons while allowing ourselves to be more resilient and authentic with ourselves and others. Mars's power to Jupiter also adds to this flow of enthusiasm this week. It motivates us, pushing us to go after our goals with more passion and just a new sense of life, a new sense of I can get over my obstacles. So a lot of energy this week, really giving us that drive and motivation and confidence to take bold actions, be courageous, start new things, finish things as well. It brings us really just the ability to have clarity about our goals and to think about the milestones, so really planning and writing down the things we want to achieve and doing tech lists, plan and routine. That's my keyword for 2025, plan and routine. So but we just need to watch out for the tendency to exaggerate and be too overconfident and reckless right now as well, and take on more than what you can handle. Make the list, work your way through it. Sometimes we think we can do 5 things, but we can only really do 3 things, so just be gentle with yourself as well, and try to be assertive while not being aggressive as well. And spiritually, it wants us to align our actions with our higher aspirations, the higher things in life, the things that are constructive for our health and well-being as well, and to maintain a balance between being aware and going after what we want, but also being aware of the consequences and making a plan as well. So that's the main energies, Saturn also this week, and then we've got daily movement. So on the 8th of December, Venus makes a sister quadrant to Jupiter. The moon enters its first quarter moon phase. Venus makes a contra-parallel to Jupiter, and Venus's contra-parallel to Jupiter, what I mentioned earlier, is exact today at 9:48 p.m. So Venus's sister quadrant to Jupiter adds to what's being creative this week and being social, and supports us in, thinking about our savings or starting to save, or just thinking about our finances, our inner values, and really working through any problems there and making a plan for a healthier financial future and mental and psychological and spiritual stability. But also, can add to what's being unrealistic and overindulging in things as well, so we just need to watch out for that. The moon's north node goes direct, so this allows us to, supports us with reassessing our life purpose, our goals, our direction, and just thinking about the paths we've chosen, the things we've done in our life, and wants us to, really just get to the reality of what you want to achieve in the coming year. And the first quarter moon supports us to set our intentions and that we may have set in a new moon phase, or just really motivate us to focus on growth. On the 9th of December, the moon enters Pisces and the moon's north node goes retrograde. So the moon in Pisces allows us to tap into our emotional, into the spiritual, into our secrets, into our self-destructive thoughts and, and behaviours and addictions, and really think of ways of overcoming and managing them. We can just be more imaginative, wanting to explore our dreams, but negatively it can make us kind of run into our addictions and distractions because we're just scared, we just want to numb ourselves because we can feel things more deeply right now. So the ideal use of this energy is to put it into your emotional, psychological and spiritual health management, to do things that are creative, but watch out for escapism. Try and do your best, because sometimes it can be overwhelming, scary to face yourself, especially when you've been hiding from yourself for ages. So use this time and energy to really integrate your emotions and experiences, allowing your personal growth to kind of deepen your connection with yourself, and just think about your intentions. And on the 10th of December, Venus makes a sextile to the moon's north node, and this is exact at 7:31 a.m. and leaves us around the 12th of December. Venus is contra-parallel to Mars that I talked about earlier, is exact at 7:22 p.m. today, and the Sun's trine to Chiron is exact at 5:48 p.m. today. So Venus's sextile to the moon's north node again allows us to develop our connections, cultivate them, create new connections, and especially connections that kind of align with our soul purpose, so we just feel like this person's meant to be in our life. So fated things can happen over the next couple of days for some of you. Also, this aspect, Venus's sextile to the moon's north node supports us in, working with others and network, and we may find ourselves attracted more to people, as I said, that resonate with our longer term values and goals right now, and be more willing to repair relationships that contribute to our growth and happiness, or to start them. The Sun's trine to Chiron allows us to confront our past wounds, and it sort of enables us to seek out ways to improve our emotional well-being and encourages our self-acceptance. And the moon entering void, of course, we can use this time to sort of reflect on our past experiences. Some of you may want to avoid starting new things as well, and it just kind of allows us to take time out and reflect on our emotional needs and just recharge. On the 11th of December, the moon enters Aries. The Sun makes a semi-square to Venus. So I talked about the Sun semi-square to Venus earlier this week, and it's exact today at 10:45 p.m. So the moon in Aries again gives us that energy to be spontaneous, to be assertive, but we just need to watch out for being overconfident and overstepping people's boundaries. But it's a good thing, energy to allow us to start new things, be more confident, push through obstacles as well, and be courageous as well, and just respect other people's space, but also express our individuality as well. And it can just help us to break through from any hesitations or limitations as well. So on the 12th of December, the moon enters its gibbous moon phase at 1 a.m. Venus makes an opposition to Mars at 10:46 a.m. and this leaves us around the 14th of December. The Sun makes a sextiquadrant to Mars, and this is exact at 12:11 p.m. Again, that's just for a few days in Scorpio, and the Sun's in Scorpio and Mars is in Cancer. So the gibbous moon allows us to reflect on our feelings, increase our intuition and readiness to seek growth, and encourages us to really go after our goals right now and reassess our priorities. And we may finish some projects, or some other things may come to an end, and it wants us to really put our intentions into motion and to get going, working through our to-do list, what I was talking about at the beginning of this week. And it wants us to, and supports us to go after the things we want and assert our individuality. But again, it can lead to conflicts if we overstep other people's boundaries and don't respect other people's needs as well. So it wants us to acknowledge our feelings into constructive conversations, creating art, just things that are really, really meaningful right now, and create understanding in our relationships without compromising our own needs or expecting others to do that, but trying to work in the middle. And the Sun's sextiquadrant to Mars again can bring frustration if we're facing obstacles, so we can just be aggressive within ourselves. Some of us or other people may be aggressive to us, as it's kind of pushing us to take action and go after what we want. And it wants us to identify areas in our life where assertiveness, us being taking charge, being more self-empowered, can lead to very good productive changes, and just allow ourselves to find more clarity and purpose. On the 13th of December, Uranus enters Aries at 5:58 a.m. Jupiter makes a sextiquadrant to Pluto at 6:07 a.m. And I talked about this at the beginning of this week as well. This energy leaves us next week on the 19th of December. Mercury makes a sextile to Venus at 7:45 a.m. and Mercury's in Scorpio, Venus is in Capricorn, and this leaves us in a few days. Venus makes a quintile to Chiron, and Venus is in Capricorn and Chiron's in Pisces, and this is exact at 11:06 a.m. And the Sun makes parallel to Pluto, and this leaves on the 15th of January, and this is exact on the 13th of December. So Uranus in Aries, and I've done a big in-depth explanation of this, like I like to do, but it pushes us to embrace new beginnings and take bold actions, being mindful of making impulsive decisions, because Uranus often brings unexpected changes that can be challenging for us to navigate, and the sextiquadrant between Jupiter and Pluto can intensify our ambitions and drive for power, but it can also lead to a sense of restlessness or frustration if our goals seem out of reach. Mercury sextile to Venus allows us to have more meaningful communication, increase our creativity, and it allows for us to express affection, allowing our relationships to grow. And as the moon enters Taurus, it brings the grounding that we need to really go through the storms a lot of these transits are bringing this week. It allows us to be stable and focus on material comforts, cooking good food, ordering good food, spending time with others, gardening, painting, being creative, spending time with yourself, date night, stuff like that as well. So doing your hair and makeup, having fun with others. And Venus's quintile to Chiron allows allows us to address our past wounds with more love and kindness, and create deeper connections and personal growth with ourselves and others. And it kind of reminds us to keep on going ahead, but also to stay connected with our inner values and seek the support of those around us, as well as set support from others if we feel that we can trust them and we really want it as well. So on the 14th of December, the Sun makes a contra-parallel to Chiron, and this is exactly 12:54 PM, and as I said, it leads us to the 6th of February, and I've already talked about this. So yeah, that's the end of the weekly scopes from the 8th to the 14th of December. Take care, I'm Imani, and thanks for your time and energy, guys. See you next time.